Hi beautiful Super Soul Sisters. Today we're going to talk about super sweat shoes. Now, whilst it's really good to have our super sweat shoes or sneakers on, whichever you prefer to call them, we want to exercise. There's a definite benefit to that, but I want to try and draw attention and awareness is to the level that we're actually doing it, and is it even the right exercise to begin with, and what's the motive that's going on behind it. So it's always what else, what impact does it actually have on us emotionally, and what's the driver behind it that's actually making us do that. So there's nothing wrong. I love exercise. I mean, I do every single day, and I'm not condoning that you become a couch potato. I just want to do a heads up here right from the actual beginning. But what I do want to draw attention to is for people, and it's one of those things again, it's the extremity to which. So say, for example, I've got, a lovely lady that I know here who's really big into her ultra marathons and like running from one side of the country to the other. Now, again, you see exercising as a socially, acceptable and even rewarded practice, and the more you do it, people go, well done, carry on doing it, etc., etc. And often you get trophies and awards and that sort of thing as well, don't you? So the bigger the challenge, the bigger and better the person is seen sometimes to be, aren't they? So like if you manage to run from one side of South Island to the other, I mean, hats off to those people who do it. Absolutely, that's incredible. And it's that self-discipline, it's keeping on top of it. Now you have to ask yourself, what are they most likely to be, a manager or a firefighter? If you haven't taken that quiz, the 3 hidden shoe types, maybe take that, because if you're one of these, intense exercise people, I'd like to see how you come out, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be quite high up in the manager side of things. So I just thought I'd let you know. You might also find as well that people that are quite full into their exercises, because it requires so much discipline and structure, quite comfortably, it'll be the number 3 Enneagrams. It'll be quite often the 8s, because they like the some element of control and discipline also, and structure comes in with the 5s and 6s, doesn't it? So it's not, I'm not saying that you are a particular personality type that has to exercise. Everybody does exercise, but you might choose different types of exercises. So for example, an Enneagram number, let's have a look, number 9 is more likely, because they're more chilled and relaxed, are more likely to do the more sort of yin kind of yoga kind of exercises as a rule, and chillaxing things that might be on the beach. So they might be more driven to, I don't know, surfing, for example, than they would maybe to push themselves beyond their limits, running from one side of the country to the next. So it's just an awareness of, like, you suddenly start piecing things together. So if you haven't had a chance to go and look at the Enneagram types, I do go through them, each individual one, so that you can learn one thing every single day. This is what this is all about, one step every single day, taking you in the direction that you actually want to go in, rather than just have life happen to you and you get swept up in the current of life, and you land up on this road with all sorts of people that you don't even want to be with, doing something you don't even want to be doing. So this is the whole point, is like you start going, oh, do you know what, those shoes are the ones that I do want to be wearing. Oh, look, I am an Enneagram XYZ, whatever the number is, 1, 2, or 3. So you can start going, well, oh, that makes sense. That's why I now understand why I've got more of a leaning to do this kind of exercise, or that this is why I react to those kind of people, why those people react to me. So with the super sweat sneakers, one of the things that you could be looking at is, sometimes if we are over managing, which you'll find out once you do the 3 hidden shoe types quiz free. It doesn't cost anything to do it. You get your result straight away. You can get more information emailed to you. Most people do that. If you're one of those achieving types like I am, where we want to learn more, and it's just like, well, okay, why not? It's free. Get the email sent to you with the PDF. I've written a lovely little e-guide with all the information on. There's 4 different sets that you can actually go into more of a deep dive on. Really useful information, and you'll start noticing. I'd love for you to be able to get to a point where you go, oh, I understand that person could be, an Enneagram this, they're a firefighter, or they're, a manager, or, and they're towards, person away from, that sort of thing. And with this, it'll be down to why are they doing that kind of exercise? What's their driver to run from one side of the country to the other? And I do find that fascinating, because personally, I couldn't think of anything worse. I mean, I am an achiever, but I achieve in different ways. But running from one side of the country to the other doesn't float my boat at all. I'd sooner swim it. I'm more of a swimmer than I am a runner. So, that's my thing. Now, the one thing that I would like to sort of draw attention to is the extremity to which, if we've got super sweat sneakers on, we do run the risk of overdoing it, don't we? So it's an awareness of, why do you have the need to overachieve? Okay. Sometimes it's not always the case. Sometimes, you just like running for the sake of running, or doing whatever it is that exercises. Like, for example, maybe you're into weights and you're doing lots of pushing of weights, and you've got it's all about getting strength rather than it is being able to run long distance. So one will be about stamina and discipline, over a period of time. The other one will be discipline and strength. So what is it that drives you? What's your motivation? So, where I do the question mark is like, where does that come from, is included in the attachment style. So there's 4 attachment styles that we actually have, and I find that the ones that tend to overachieve are in one of those 4 attachment styles. They're normally the ambivalence, and the ambivalence, and again, you see, you can get this e-guide for free. I've written that. And you can just, if you join the Facebook group, if you're not already a member there, you can do hashtag, free e-guide, and I will give you that. You can directly DM me, and I can send that to you straight away. The guys are just finishing up designing that, just so that you actually know, but I will send it to you as soon as it's completed. And of those 4 attachment styles, you'll find out more about the ambivalence. And the ambivalence are something that we've learned in our early childhood from our parents, that we got rewarded for achieving certain things. Now, the more your mum or dad or primary caregiver did that to you, you will tend to find that it elevates that need to achieve or overachieve. So the overachieving can get to the point where it does land up sometimes being at cost to self, and also to others, your loved ones, because if you overwork, if you overrun, if you over exercise, it can damage yourself, can't it? Like I had this one lady, who actually tore her Achilles tendon in a race over in Australia, and she wanted to carry on running, and they basically said, if you carry on running on that, you will never be able to run again. And that's actually the only reason that she stopped. Otherwise she would have carried on, because she so desperately wanted to finish that race. So you've got to go, well, what would drive you to the point where you know that it's going to do self-damage? Another thing that I would also be saying as well, it's like, that will definitely be, in my opinion, something related to her early childhood. There would have been a driver there to meet that criteria in order to get the appreciation, get the love, get the connection, get the recognition, get the status, get the significance, whatever it is for that person, right? So when you start looking into it, it's like, why do you have that need to do that over exercising at cost to self or to those around you? How does it impact those around? If you're doing, say, for example, over exercising, and you're like, I knew another lady who did excessive exercise, and for her training she'd do 2 to 3 hours of training every single day, but she had to do it after work, which meant that she wasn't there for the family, so the kids were starting to play up after a while and she couldn't understand. So that's why she came to me. It was like, what's going on? My kids are out of whack. And it was because that 3 hours to 4 hours every single day, even she'd run at night, she'd do her training and everything at night. It was like, at what cost? Like, not there to make the meals, or she'd do the meals, but they, it was very, slapped together kind of thing, or a takeout, or whatever the case might be, or leaving the hubby to do stuff. So there was a knock-on effect with that. So when we could tailor it where she could still do her running but maybe not quite as much, or she could still do her training for her her marathons and stuff that she wanted to actually do, but scheduled in when it was during school hours, or where it was early morning before they actually woke up, and then the behavior started coming right. So it's being aware of all of that. And also I would say, if you're into the extreme exercise, do replenish your minerals and your vitamins, hey, because this is one of the things. Often we sweat. I know I'm talking completely biological, physical stuff here now, but when you sweat all your minerals and vitamins out of your body and you don't replenish it, that does lean you towards having some kind of physical breakdown at some stage, because your body can't handle that on an ongoing basis. That's just a total précis, but like, just letting you know that I have come across that quite a bit, especially with extreme exercise folks. So just be aware of that. Make sure that what you're sweating out you put back in. Anyway, I hope you found that useful, and makes you start thinking. It's like, oh, you know what, I've never thought about whether it, over exercising is actually a deficit rather than only a benefit, you see. And that's quite often our shades that I talk about as well. We got our filters on and we think, well, everybody applauds that and awards us for that, so that's what I'm going to carry on doing. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please will you like, share, subscribe, please. Also, make some comments here, either in YouTube or in Facebook. If you're already in Facebook, thank you very much for that. And I'll see you again next time. Namaste.